Folks, this is class 3 exercise, class exercise number 3, part 1. Excuse me. Um, this is the file structure. Let me start out with, and I need to have anything with several dates, directories up to this far that you have with it. A directory called class exercises, a directory called class project, and an outside file that we've been working on is the index.html. I'm going to create another subdirectory by right mouse clicking in anywhere in the white area and click on File, New, Folder, and I'm going to give it today's date. It happens to be 02/10/20 inside of that. Now, let me share with you with what we're about to do in here is that we're going to create I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to pull the class exercise number 3 for we're about to take a look at. Well, maybe not. That's kind of confusing because if I did that, let me show you what we're about to do. So inside of this document, you're going to create 3 files. Like your basic.html, you're going to create 3 files. One of them is going to be called styles, the second one's called formatting, and the third one is going to be called quotations. Now, there are reasons why I'm doing this with it. So inside of this, let's go ahead and get your file structure right on here with it. So create a folder with today's date, and you're going to be linking from the index page to these 3 files and back and forth to it as well. So that's the whole objective for the class 3 exercise 3 with it. But first of all, let's talk about some of the stuff that we're about to do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the previous file that we just looked at as the basic.html. This one here, I'm just going to use some of the code in there, so it just help us to navigate some of this. So I'm going to right mouse click on it or open up Notepad in this case with it. And this is what we currently have, right? And I'm just going to clear out some stuff out of here with it and just use the basic skeleton out of it. So the first thing I'm going to do, let me remove that title. I'm going to do File, Save As. And I'm going to find today's date on there, which is February the 10th, 20. And I'm going to call this styles, all right, styles with an S, .html. And then I'm going to do a pull down, all files, and then styles.html. Click on Save. All right, now I'm going to remove everything in between as well, okay, all the way down to the body. Looks like this. All right, so this is what it looks like, including the styles, 2 styles right here. All right, so we're going to just start with the basic skeleton is this. Keep everything you have in here. So in here, I'm going to call this thing HTML. My cursor's kind of lagging here. HTML. Sorry, I don't know why my keyboard's kind of HTML. This is going to be styles. Okay, so this is what's going to appear on the head with it as well. Let's come into the I'm going to document this as we talk about some of these styles that we talk about and why are we doing styles and annotations and different type of styles that we're doing in here with it. So let me document. This is not going to be on your in your code, but when you document HTML, it's less than, greater than, and anything between this dash this would tell you that this is going to be ignored by the browser with it. All right. So the first thing I need to talk to you about is there's 2 reasons why we have styles and we have formatting and all the stuff with it. So I just want to point out there are key things that you need to be realizing with it. HTML styles and formatting, and the other thing is we're going to do some quotations in here. One thing is that most all corporations out there will require you, or corporations will require you to have some sort of require some sort of what's called style sheet. All right, meaning that if you write English paper, then English paper you would oblige by what the MLA rules are, right? How do you do footnote? How do you do subscripts and all that stuff? So there are guidelines that you have to follow. Same thing as industry with it. If you're going to maintain JCPenney's, Macy's, or State Farm, any of these corporation websites with it, you have to follow their guidelines with it as well. So it can't be the Wild Wild West. You can go in and make up anything with it. The second thing is that formatting. What this allows you to do is we have to be what's called accessibility type of accessibility in compliance. Meaning, if somebody was visually impaired, they use what's called a jaw reader. These screen readers would read things on the screen for the visual impaired. If people are having problems seeing color, then there will be things that describe in the alt tags, and there are things that appear to them for them to see. Even for the impaired hearing with it as well. So accessibility compliance is very important in today's world with it. There's about 26% of the population has some sort of disability, some sort of has some sort of learning disability. Okay, so when you design stuff with it, your web page has to be compatible with it. That's by law with it as well. So that's why we do what we do with it. A couple of things I need to talk to you about is to get into this is that when we're going to be using some of the attribute and styles HTML elements with it. So let me get started with that. Let me get started with that with you. So let's go in here, starting with, I want to take this right here. I want to bump this to the left if you want to break your screen in half with it. And you notice that styles needs to be saved because it has an asterisk. So I'm going to do Control S, saves it. I'm going to open up the browser with it as well. So I'm going to open up the styles.html and where we can view this at the same time. So I'm going to navigate to the page that we just looked at. Here's today's date, and this is what the style sheet looks like right now. Okay, so that's what it looked like in styles with it, but I'm going to refresh this. Hold on a second. I need to save my style, so Control S saves it. Come over here and refresh it. So it's a clean slate right now, right? All that was from the previous stuff that I had. So I'm going to remove all that stuff with it. So let's start. This is what I'd like for you to do. So the first thing is we'll try out some codes. So let's say, for example, the paragraph tag, right? The paragraph tag. I'm going to say I am normal. Okay, with the closing of this P tag with it, and I'm going to go in with the same P tag. I'm going to say styles in the attribute for this thing equal, and this is going to be color. Notice the syntax, dot red semicolon, close that off, and I am red, for instance, and I'm going to close off this paragraph tag with it. And I'm going to Control S, saves it. On the right hand side, I'm going to refresh this so you can see I am normal, which is the paragraph tag. Now, if you remember, what we talked about is some key words I want to talk to you about. This is the name of the tag, is the paragraph tag. This is the style. Equals the attribute and its value or properties that you can see the value in here as well. Please note the syntax is a semicolon. This is a colon. This is a semicolon, and it is close off and at the beginning of the tag with it, and then you close off that paragraph tag right here. All right. So just to keep consistency with what we have with it, I'm going to do a few more of these things so you can see what I'm talking about with it. Or you can do this. Just save some time. I'm going to take the same line right here. I'm going to copy. I'm going to do that. Paste that. Change this into, let's do blue. And then I could change this word blue Okay, Control S saves it. Come over here, refresh it. So I just gave that another text with it. Or that's another way of doing this. I could mess with is to do that. Another way is to change the style right here. And the other thing I need to show you is like the font size. So this is font dash size. And inside of this thing, instead of, I can't say red, but I have to give it a pixel size. So this is about 50 pixel, px for pixel. And you could say this font is this, oop, no, right here. This font is size 50 pixel. All right, or maybe I should spell it out so you can see. So Control S, come over here and refresh this, and you could see how that font comes up with it. So as we're going through this, and I just want to point this out, some of the stuff that you will be doing, and you're going to be seeing some of these things with it. Situate your note on the left, and you saw how I did that. I just took this and I bumped it. Took your document, just bumped it there. Take your browser and here and just bump it to the right. That just divides your screen in half. Save, and appears on the other side when you refresh it with it as well. Now, as we get into more of this, okay. So this is still. Let me check the time right now I have.